Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to this HALŌ Education Series on anterior composite resins. Today we're working on a class 4. Now this is a class 4 that just walked into your office with a broken tooth. You don't have a putty guide. All that I've done here is I've created a putty guide and I've pushed it up against the existing teeth and against the existing fracture. And then as you can see, I've just pencil lined in where the new incisal edge is going to go. This is how to create something so that you don't have to use the old finger matrix and just kind of blob some composite on the back of this, on your fingers. You're holding it behind the tooth. So this is how to actually create a guide. So first, I'm just going to begin to check my guide. And I'm looking for that pencil line that I made. I'm trying to make sure that that pencil line is close to the existing and other incisal edge. And from there, I'm using a handpiece now to actually cut out the proper amount of thickness. The biggest problem with using your finger as a matrix when you're fixing an emergency class 4 is that you're going to make that composite too thin. You're not going to be able to hold your finger in the right spot. You're going to end up with a very, very thin class 4 area there that's probably going to chip later. And now I'm putting in the first layer, which is something translucent. If you have something, an enamel shade will do, but not a dentin shade. And you're going to have something with a little bit of translucency that you're going to add into your matrix that you just created. It's best if this is a nano fill or a nano hybrid, just for strength, okay? A microfill will work, but a nano is even better. And I'm just laying that into that guide that I've created there with the handpiece. Now, after I've etched and bonded, I'm going to connect that to our class 4 restoration. And I put a little bit of extra flowable there to connect it. So now we have this clear palatal shell, and we're going to add some dentin. And as you can see, I've got a bevel there in the front and back of the tooth, and I'm just adding the dentin layer in here, and I'm just making it opaque enough so we don't have that gray here. Here's what happens a lot of times with these class 4s. You're fixing it with enamel shade, the same stuff you use to do fillings. And when you do that, that's going to appear gray or dark, even if you chose the right color. Using dentin is going to give us the opportunity to block some of that light out. So we'll develop the dentin, develop some little mamelons that go through that clear palatal shell, and make sure that we're blocking the light out so that the light doesn't pass all the way through the teeth and give it a gray appearance. You can be as fancy or unfancy as you want with those mamelons. I use a Tokiyama brush to kind of brush that dentin up against my bevel that I've created, and then I'm going to cure that. You don't have to go too hard on this. It's not that delicate. I'm adding a little bit of opal flow here, and that opal flow is just to lock in those mamelons. Those mamelons are rugged, and so we want a flowable composite there. And now we're going to finish the outside with an enamel shade. And now an enamel shade is just going to have some more translucency to it. It's going to let more light through, and this is going to be like a B1 in this case. And I'm just spreading that all over the face of that restoration and then transitioning that up onto the rest of the tooth on the cervical. I'm going to use my guide again to make sure that I didn't overdo it, and kind of use my putty that I made to make sure that I'm not overextending, using my spatula to push it in between. Creating a little bit of texture there that I can see in the adjacent tooth with my spatula, and just transitioning that enamel shade up on to the surface of the tooth. Then I'll use my mylar and I'll just pull that through. I'm pushing this composite against the mylar and getting it to stick, and then I'm going to pull that mylar that way, and that's going to pull that composite through and make sure it's kind of sealed on the sides. Another couple of touches with the brush, and I've got my basic shape, and it's going to be layered so that the value and the color is going to be close. I'm not going to use a diamond burr for everything, but I'm just going to scrape off the excess and kind of map out the general features of the flatness of that incisor with that diamond burr. And then I'm following up with a 12 fluted carbide. Now carbide is going to take off that scratchy layer that the diamond made. It looks like I'm just using a pencil line there to kind of mark my line angles. I want to map using a pencil so I can kind of see what the other tooth is doing. I'm always copying what the other tooth is doing, just putting pencil lines there as a reference. Can't really see here, but I'm just cleaning up that incisal edge because I think I got it just a bit too long there. So we're going to tidy up that incisal edge with a disc and make sure that it's matching the adjacent tooth. So we've got the line angles, just some easy line angles close to the adjacent, and now we're just touching that up a little bit with that disc. I'm going to use some blue points here. This is from cosmetic. These blue points cut slightly at about 10,000 RPMs, and they're designed just to give us a little bit, you can see how much texture is on tooth number 9. We want to replicate that texture a little bit on tooth number 8, mapping out, just observing the characteristics of tooth number 9. What does it look like? Where are the indentations? Oh, look, I found them there. So I'm going to replicate that with a pencil, mark that, and then I'm going to use my disc to kind of, on those pencil lines as a reference to get those into the correct place. Once those texturizations are in place, we're going to get ready to just finish and polish. I use a Brassler green Featherlight, and I'm going to run this at about 10,000 RPM for about 10 seconds. It doesn't take a super long time. And this is spinning down from the tooth to the composite. And then I'll finish up with a white Featherlight. Same thing, 10,000 RPMs, 10 seconds. And that's going to give this composite a pretty amazing translucency. Tidying up my embrasures a little bit with a very soft disc from Cosmetic, not a real aggressive disc. Just making sure that those look good. Overall, this is going to take me about 15 minutes, but I'm going to deliver a much better result for that patient. So there we have our class 4 completed. This is much better than throwing up a finger matrix, and it didn't take us very much time. The only additional step was making that putty, but that is going to look real. It's not going to look gray or look like it doesn't belong with the adjacent tooth. If you want to learn more about how to use composite resins, especially in the anterior, you can find me on Instagram at Dr. Smile and Travels, at Dr. Drew Ballard, and also you can find me at HALŌ I run a series of courses on how to use anterior resins to make beautiful and lifelike results. I'm going to be sharing all of my tips and tricks here on YouTube, so if you like what you saw today and you thought this was helpful, please subscribe.